Hi guys, welcome back to the Canadian Glam Mam channel. Glam Mam here, and as you can tell by the title, we are going to do a prom tutorial today. Considering prom is just around the corner, and that seems to be the trend right now when people are posting pictures to Instagram and Twitter and everything, I thought why not jump on the bandwagon and I'll do my own version of a prom eye look. So as always, I've already moisturized my skin, but because I'm going to be working with a very dramatic eye look today, I haven't went ahead and did my foundation or anything, but I have primed my eyelids and I went in and set them with that primer. Working from the Carli Bybel palette, I have used this top very creamy neutral shade, and then I've went ahead and put my all too well trusty Scotch tape on the corners of my eyes. Now, if you would like to see how I do this exactly, then you can jump back in a couple of videos and watch that, or you can just comment in the section below and I will do a more in-depth of priming your eyes and getting ready to do a more dramatic look. But for the sake of trying to keep this video short, we're just going to cut to starting with our eyeshadows. So first off, I've went ahead and grabbed that cream shadow. So I'm using just the biggest fluff brush, blending brush that I have out of that BH Cosmetics set that I have in my last video. And I'm just going to pat this all on my eye. I'm patting first because I was setting the primer, and then just doing sweeping motions back and forth, just making sure that I get all the way into the corner of my eye, all the way up underneath my brow, and on the corner of this outer corner of my eye, right along the tape line, because that's going to make for an easier, more blendable shadow when you get into the darker colors. Again, repeating the same thing. I'm going to start by patting it on my eyelid, making sure I get all the way into my inner corner, bringing it up underneath my brow, and just along that tape line. So for my next shadow, I'm going to be grabbing the next matte color in this Carli Bybel palette. It's like this warm caramel brown color right here, and using a almost pointed blending brush from the same, all the brushes I'm going to be using are from that BH Cosmetics brush set. So just grabbing a little bit of that product and tapping off the excess. I'm going to start by pushing this color in my crease. So starting on the outer corner, I'm just going to bring that color into my inner corner, and that's just starting to define my crease of where I want my crease to sit. And I'm just going to buff that slowly back and forth. This doesn't need to be precise, this is just a transition color for the other colors that I'm going to be laying in my crease. Like so, and again just grabbing more product, starting on the outer corner, and I'm just going to slowly bring that back and forth and lay that in my crease. It's not a lot darker than the first color that we brought in, so when you're blending them together they do blend really smoothly, so it's almost unnoticeable. But if you were to go straight in with a darker color, then you're going to notice that it's not going to blend as easily and you are going to get really dramatic lines. So again, going into the next color in the Carli Bybel palette, I'm going to pick some of that up, tap off the excess, and I'm going to blend that over the top of the color that we just did. Again, starting on the outer and slowly dragging that back and forth in windshield wiper motions and kind of circling, buffing motions. I'm going to lay that right on top of that other one in my crease. And repeating the same step on the other eye. Now these shadows are very creamy, very pigmented, and they blend very, very effortlessly. You do not need to like some shadows, I find that you need to keep going back and forth to kind of get a smooth transition of the color and making sure it's blended evenly. This these shadows are so effortlessly blendable that you almost don't need to go back and forth as many times as I did. And last out of this palette, we are going to grab this plum color here on the end. And I'm going to repeat the same step, picking some up, tapping it off, and I'm going to start on the outer corner and go in that same sweeping windshield wiper motion. But this time I'm going to drag some down just to the very edge of my lash line. And this will help start to darken that outer corner. So when I go to place other colors on top of it, they're going to blend more smoothly. So just working on that crease to define that crease and that outer corner, because I would like a very dramatic line. And repeating the same step on the other eye. So outer corner, blend into the crease, and then just concentrate on this outer corner of your eye, bringing and smudging down into the lash line. And I'm using the same brush for all of them because I started with the lightest color and transitioned into the dark color. If I was going to use a dark color and then go back with a light color, I would not use the same brush. Once you have that done, you can set this palette aside now, and I'm going to be working from the Eyes on the 70s palette. The next shade that I'm going to be picking up is this purple color right here. And it's the lighter of the two purples. And I'm going to be placing that in the crease on top of those colors and swirling in a circular motion and then windshield wiper motions on this outer corner, because this is really what I want to define. I really want to darken this outer corner. It's going to be a really dramatic smoky eye and cut crease. So using that same brush, because again we're working with the same colors, starting from a lighter to a darker in this palette as well. And you really don't have to be too precise or really neat with this, because again, this is why I'm using the tape, for one, so I get the nice edge that I want, and two, we haven't laid our foundation or anything yet, so that if there is fallout or you mess up, you can go ahead and fix that and make sure your eyes are where you want them before you go ahead and set your foundation, because it's a lot easier to fix a mistake that you do when you're creating a look like this before your foundation than having to try and get it off of your foundation. Like so, and just repeat the same step on the other eye. So pick up some of that product, pat it off, and then outer corner to inner corner, slowly buff that back and forth and concentrate on where your tape line is on your outer corner, just bringing it into where it meets your lashes. And I'm really going really light-handed when I go into the crease, but really a little bit heavier on the outer corner, because essentially this is where I want the most color. That's why I'm starting there. I want the most color to lay on this outer corner because that's what I want to be more dramatic and where I want the focus of the colors to be. and then just going really light-handed back and forth in this crease, and then kind of doing my circular motions on the outer corner. Next, I'm going to go in with that deeper purple right here on the outer corner and do the same thing. The reason I started off with such a light color and then I'm going in gradually with darker colors is so that I get a nice smooth transition within my crease, but then I can use those same colors to really darken the outer corner without going too heavy-handed to start off with, and then they're a lot harder to blend away, and most of the time you have to wipe it off and start over, because it's harder to fix with a darker color right off the bat than it is to kind of correct as you go. So starting on the outer corner again, and then I'm just going to bring just a little bit of this color in the crease, blending back and forth, and really try to bring this in a diagonal line and then smudge it like so. I really want my eyes to be the focal point of this look. And again, just buffer that outer corner. Repeating the same thing on the other side. It may seem a little bit redundant, but this isn't a look that you know, gonna throw on in 5 minutes and run out the door. This is definitely a special occasion look and something that you really want to take your time creating, because you know you are gonna have those pictures that are going to last you a lifetime. I did not go to my prom, but if I was to have went, this is the look that I would have worn. I thought of something that I wanted, you know, dramatic eyes, light, something light for the rest of my face, and just kind of sweep back and forth, like so. Once you're happy with how dark this is, then I'm going to go in and grab the smallest amount of this black on that same brush. And this one I'm not going to bring into my crease. This one I'm just going to concentrate on that outer corner, sorry. So I'm just going to start on the right here, blending up just a little into the crease just to define it. And then smudging back and forth on that tape line in almost like a triangle effect, and then just bring it just the slightest amount into that lash line. And repeating the same step on the other corner. Sorry, I was probably blocking the camera. I kind of get sidetracked when I do looks like these that are a little bit more in depth and complicated, so to speak. Or intricate, that's the word I was looking for. And just again, making sure that you're bringing them up to the same level that you want. And I brought this a little bit lower so you could still see that purple through. And now I'm going to grab a fluffy, where am I here? A fluffy, clean buffing brush, blending brush, and I'm just going to, without any product, just kind of go over, starting on the inner corner, and then just kind of buff this out, smoothing any of those harsh lines away, and just trying to make that as blended as possible. And if you're happy with the color contrast, Then you can move on to the next step. I almost want to darken my crease just a little more. I'm not finding it has the greatest of contrast for me, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of that purple and just buff that using that same brush, and it's kind of pulling some of that black into it. And just very lightly handing doing this, like so, just to give myself more of a defined crease. And then just, again, using that empty brush with nothing on it, going back and forth and just blending that away. And then taking that first brush that we used with that very light cream color on it, I'm just going to go around the outside of this crease and again just soften up the edges underneath the brow. And while looking at this from the camera's point, like it may look really, really crazy dramatic, almost like you were knocked in the eye. I swear to you, it's going to look more pulled together once we get the rest of the colors on. For a lot of people, they're going to see colors like this and be like, automatically, nope, I can't do it, and get scared. I know I was like that for quite a while when it came to putting colors on my eyelids. As soon as it started getting crazy dark, then I started almost chickening out. So next I'm going to grab this angled brush like so. I'm going to dip into this purple pink color right down here, and I'm going to use this to highlight under my brow. And this is just going to lighten up like so. Doing the same step on the other eye. And I do like to go back in and do this after I have my eyebrows on, but it's just kind of going to give me a contrast on where I'm working from with my colors. This gives me an idea of how things are blending and looking. And next I'm going to be working with the Galaxy palette. And this is also from B&H. All these palettes are B&H products. And working with a flat brush, I'm going to be picking up first, this Milky Way right here. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this product in my brush. And I'm going to cover my entire eyelid with this in that open space, staying below where we place the rest of the colors. I'm repeating the same step on the other eye. Now these shadows can be used wet or dry, and I am going to be dampening my brush for my next color that I'm going to be placing on top of this. So using that same brush and my setting spray, like this, I'm just going to give a quick mist onto my brush, and I'm going to be picking up the color Cosmic right next to it on my brush. And I want kind of a generous amount for this. And working from my lash line, I'm going to pat this in that same area, but more focused on the inner corner. And don't worry about fallout, that's again why we're doing our eye look first. And I'm just covering that same area, like so. And back and forth until you get that contrast that you want. And notice how I'm patting this on and not really rubbing back and forth with it, because I'm trying to get as much pigmentation as I possibly can and keep that all in one spot. I don't want to blend it up. I really want to keep that crease defined and this color just specifically on my lids. And then just repeating. This is what I like about this shadow. It's a very buildable color. I can start with a really sheer amount for just a highlight, or I can really just keep going back and forth and patting more product on to really build that that color on there. So now once I've got that color on there, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same step on the other eye. And it's alright if you need to remist your brush. And I'm just really going and packing that color on there. And I'm really trying to stay within the color range of the purples and blacks, plum colors. Except for my highlighters, which you will see in a minute. Once you're happy with how the contrast is, if that's the way you like it, then go ahead and take your tape off. And once that tape is off, you will see how defined this look is, which is going to really help because I'm going to do minimal liner for this look. At least I believe I am until I see how it looks with minimal liner. I might do a cat eye, but I'm not sure yet. So once you have that liner look appearance to it and you're happy with it, then you can go ahead and take a makeup wipe. That's what I find works best for it, and then just clean up all the fallout that's underneath. And then I just go right along and just kind of tidy up where that tape was, giving extra definition to that outer corner. And I'm liking the way this looks, so I'm definitely not going to be doing a cat eye. I really want the shadow to kind of speak for itself. Okay, now you have that cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and put my foundation and concealer on and do my eyebrows, and then I'll be right back. You guys have seen me do it 100 times. I'm not going to waste your time with doing it right now. So I'll be right back. And I've went ahead and did my foundation, concealer, and set my face with my translucent powder like I always do. And now we're just going to go and finish off the eyes. So I'm going to go in with this liner by Rimmell, and it's the shade 001, 100% black. It is a liquid felt tip liner. And I'm just going to do a tight waterline, and that's just so that I can use this tight line for my lashes, because I am going to go in with false lashes. So starting from my inner corner, and I'm just going to bring it to where it meets the darkened straight edge from the eyeshadow. And again, I'm just going right along where my lashes are. I'm not bringing it right into the corner of my eye. Like so. Then I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other eye. Just following the natural curve of your eye. And sticking it as close as you can to your eyelashes. And once you have that tight waterline eyelashes liner on, just give that a few seconds to dry. And then I'm going to go in with my eyelash curler and throw on a coat of mascara before I put on my false eyelashes. So the eyelash curler I use is just this ordinary eyelash curler. This is from Sally Hansen. And I'm just going to go in and curl my eyelashes. And I'm finding that if you skip this step when you put on false lashes, you're really going to notice the separation between your natural eyelashes and your false eyelashes. So I find it is important to make sure that they blend seamlessly. The mascara I'm using is the Wet n Wild Max Volume Mascara. And this is in the shade C150A. I find it really important to find a mascara that is very, very black when you're using false lashes, because it helps your false eyelashes and your natural eyelashes to blend well. And we're just doing a coat on the top right now because we are going to further define our bottom lash line. And if you do what I just did and accidentally blink too hard and smudge the mascara, you can just take a makeup remover wipe and just barely, one that's almost dry, and just barely touch it, and again, you don't even notice that it was there. I find it very challenging to do mascara, liner, and put false lashes on while I'm on camera. So I might go ahead and just cut the video and put the false lashes on. That way I'm not wasting time and trying to rearrange everything while I'm on camera. It's just going to waste a lot of your time. Okay, now that I've got my mascara on, I'm just going to cut the video and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I'm kind of glad I decided to do my eyelashes off of camera, because what you didn't get to see is that I actually had to cut and trim them. And then, of course, my eyes decided at that point in time to start watering up, and I had a difficult time with the eyelash glue, so glad that I didn't waste your time with that, because it would have been quite a while. So the eyelashes that I'm wearing today are from that set. If you've seen my big haul video, I got a set of 10 from Shany Cosmetics. And the one I'm wearing is set 1, and it's number 2. So they're really really unique type of lash that I like. It's more on the bold dramatic side than I would normally wear. They're still sparse. They're not like really thick, but they have these nice wispies coming off of them, and I just think it's really flattering because it's not giving like a really thick, dense eyelash for you to see the eyeshadow behind, so it pairs nicely with this look is what I'm trying to say. So next we are going to work our bottom lash line, and for that I'm going to go ahead and grab my smudger brush, and working from that 70s eyeshadow palette, we're going to start with taking that lighter purple shade and then work into the darker purple shade, and then possibly add some of that black just to smudge out the outer corner as well. So starting with the lightest purple, grab some on your smudger brush. You can use a pencil brush for this, use whatever's making you feel comfortable. Just, this is a nice smudge brush that I got with this brush kit, which I did not have before. I was using a pencil brush and I was finding it a little bit more difficult to smudge out the way I wanted to and really drop that color in. So I am using a smudger brush for this. So starting on the outer corner, I'm just going to pack some of that color. And I'm going to stay away from the inner corner of my eye. I'm just going to bring it to about 3/4 of the way with this brush. And then bring it right up to the outer corner so it almost meets that line. I'm just going to bring that back and forth, and then repeat the same step on the other eye. Again, bringing it just to where my lashes end, staying away from the inner corner of my eye. Then going and grabbing that darker purple, I'm going to do the same thing. Now you can keep those right along the lash line, or you can bring the, smoke it out even more and bring it just a little bit lower. That's up to you. I like to bring it just a little under that lash line to really smoke that out. And that's why I like this brush, because it fits right in nice and tight in those lashes, but also it's thick enough that it is smoking out the bottom lash line without having to drop the brush down too far and kind of accidentally going too far down. And just repeat the same step on the other eye. Now with these colors, we're just working with the same colors that we were using in that inner crease. Or in my crease, sorry, not inner crease, in the crease. Like so. And now just to get a little bit more depth on that outer corner, I'm going to light-handedly dip into that black, pat off the excess, and then just sticking right on the outer corner. I'm just going to buff that back and forth, almost meeting into, closing my eye and just kind of bringing it up into where it is without really disturbing that nice line that we have going. Like so. Hopefully you can see that. And just repeat the same step on the other eye. like so. And now I'm just going to highlight. So using, I'm just going to make sure I see which one I used before. So going in with another, it's almost like to a tip, angled fluffy brush. It's not so much as a pencil brush because it's really thick. I guess it could be on the pencil side because it does have a little bit of a point to it. Pardon me. I'm going to go in with I'm going to try going in with Saturn right here. Now it does have a little bit of a pink and what's the color? Like almost like a rosy, like a really, really light rosy yellow color to it. I'm hoping it's going to look good in an inner corner. Normally I try these looks out, but I was just kind of feeling inspired and just looked at the colors that I wanted to use. So I'm just going to use that pencil brush and lightly dust this back and forth on the inner corner to try. Yeah, I'm liking this color, so we're going to stick with this one. And again, that Saturn out of the Galaxy palette. And just really, really tightly staying in this inner corner. I don't want to bring it out onto the bridge of the nose or anything. I just want to really keep that in the inner corner just to give that extra pop. And that's, again, why I like these shadows, is because they are kind of sheer when you first start, but they still are really, really pigmented. But you can just build upon them for the contrast. Like some people would think this is done, and to their taste that might be, but for me, I'm kind of the go bold or go home kind of girl. So when I'm trying to do a look like this, I really want as much pigment as I can get on there without looking overdone. So I'm just swirling that back and forth in the inner corner, like so. And that'll brighten the inner corner of the eye. And just repeat the same step on the other side. I like to go in and then kind of swirl around in a small circle and then just brush it in a V in the inner corner. And if it's still not as dramatic, you can go in with, like I said, with the setting spray, because these are wet or dry shadows. So once I've got the contrast and the amount of inner corner highlight that I want, I'm going to go in with a white eyeliner pencil. I'm still waiting on my NYX one that I ordered, so I am going to be using my hard candy one, which I seem to have misplaced at the moment. But that's, at that time you can throw that in there. I'm going to actually just use some white shadow, just because my eyeliner was on the counter and now it is gone. So you can kind of do the same thing and brighten it up. So I'm going to be grabbing this white shimmery eyeshadow out of the 70s palette. Sorry guys, I'm really disorganized tonight. It's a very small counter, and the more I do these videos, the more I'm realizing that I'm going to have to find a new space or kind of go in and organize things a little bit better in here to make more room on the counter. Oh, this is actually working a lot better than the eyeliner would anyways, but it is picking up a little bit of color. But I'm just using a eyeliner brush and putting some of that powder on it, and then just kind of going on the waterline, but also right in the very, very tip of the lash line. And then it's just adding a pop of brightness on the bottom, so it's going to make your eyes look awake. So for anybody with really, really sensitive eyes, like I do have sensitive eyes, but they're not to the point that they would water constantly. This may not be for you. You may want to use a white liner that doesn't affect your lower waterline so much. that it will cause you problems, but that's just a little pop of color to brighten up my eyes. So now we're done with the eyes. I'm going to go in and finish the rest of my face. So I'm going to start by bronzing up my face. So I'm going to be using a big fluffy powder brush. This one is again from the BH Cosmetics 14-piece kit. And I'm going to be going in with the NYC Sun and Bronze bronzing powder in the shade 706 Hamptons Radiance. And this is a really, really sheer bronzer, so it's not going to darken you up too much, which is why I like it so much, because I do have quite fair skin, unless I'm in the summertime. I'm a medium buff beige, but I find that kind of helps the rest of everything blend together. It doesn't show up, so it doesn't show up too much how light I am, but I'm just going to go ahead and kind of bring some of this bronzer in around the outside of my face, just enough underneath the chin as well. And just kind of give a light dusting, bringing that onto a little bit onto the cheek, and that'll just help blend in the contour and blush and everything. Sticking with the hairlines. And this is going to give you a really nice radiance with all the lights and everything. That would be a PROM. Alright, once I've done that and I've really bronzed up my face, I'm going to go in with my contour. And since getting this brush in this kit, I find that this contour does work a little bit better for me now. So this is the Wet n Wild contouring palette in the shade 758 Caramel Toffee. The only thing is you can overdo it with this, so I just do a light tap, a light pat off the excess product, and starting at the top, brush that on like so. And just blend back and forth. Until you get that defined look. Doing the same thing on the other side. I always start at the hairline so that you're getting the most amount of product up at the hairline, because if you start in the center of your cheek, that's where, most of your product's going to land, and it's going to be the darkest. So you really want to be able to blend it downwards and then be able to buff it back and forth rather than pack the product at the top. Like so, and then just making sure that your contours are evenly placed. Not using any excess powder to start off with, and I'm just going to place some of that under my jaw, under my chin, to kind of add some depth and dimension, and then very lightly packing some of that on the forehead. Like so. And I'm going to be using, if I can get it here, my little angled fluffy brush like so, and I'm going to be using that very slightly, just a very small amount of powder, contour my nose. Like so. When you're happy with that, then you can go ahead and highlight. So as I would normally use my Wet n Wild highlight, today I'm going to be working from the Carli Bybel palette because their highlighters are just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to be using a mixture of. Sorry about that. If it's really glitchy, I apologize. My phone's kind of acting up again to record these videos, so I'm going to have to definitely invest in a camera that's more equipped to that. So I'm using this angled brush, the same one that I was using, just kind of brushed it out. And I'm going to be using the Lilac Blush Duo for my blush. I realized I went straight to highlighter and I forgot my blush. So I'm just going to lightly dust this because I don't want too much color. Again, I want my eyes to speak more than anything else. But it's got a lilac undertone, so it's really going to match your eyeshadow really nicely. And I'm just starting on the cheekbones and blending upwards. I have a naturally round face, so I like to stay really clear of my apples of my cheek and just stick with my cheekbones. If you have a more slender face and you want to bring some roundness to your face to make it look a little bit fuller, then by all means go ahead and brush some of that onto the apples of your cheek. So once you have a contrast that you're happy with and it's just adding a nice light touch of sheer color, I'm going to grab my highlighter, working with these two, and mixing them using that same brush. And I'm going to go right on the highest points of my cheekbone. Like, I mean, this highlighter is gorgeous. Look at that. It's just got crazy payoff. And I'm just going to gently buff that back and forth. And I'm just using the very, very tip of this brush. And buff that all the way back into my hairline. And doing the same thing on the other side. I am purchasing a few more brushes, like a fan brush, because I've heard that that one really works nicely for a highlight, so I'm going to try that. Again, I'm going to highlight my chin. I don't want too much of a strong highlight on my chin or on my forehead. I really want the focal point to be on my cheekbones and on my cupid's bow and on my nose. So I'm just going to lightly dust the one on my forehead and my chin. And so I'm just going to dust some of that on my cupid's bow as well. To really try and accentuate that. And then a little bit more light-handed on the bridge of my nose. And then just the tip of my nose, really buff that out, like so. And then when you're happy with your highlighter, then you can move on to your lips. So for my lips, I'm going to be using the Naughty Nude Lip Liner, and this is by NYC in the number 836. Like so, and to really trying to define this top. And because I have such bold eyes, I really wanted to stay like a light neutral color on my lips. So I'm going to be working with the Revlon lipstick in the shade 25 Peach. Just a really nice light peach color. And I find this color really works nice with that liner color. They complement each other well. And just for a extra dramatic flare and pop, I'm going to be using that vintage pink sequence lip gloss. And I'm going to be placing that just in the center of my lip to give that an extra highlighted pop. And I am done. So the last thing to do, as always, is take a setting spray. I'm using the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer Mist 12 Hour, because I really want my makeup to last all night, considering you are going to be dancing. And I am going to do a heavy mist with this. And then just let that dry. And that is the final look. So if you like this video, go ahead and click the link, the like button, and the subscribe. Feel free to throw a couple comments in there, what you guys liked, what you guys didn't like, and anything else that you would like me to go into further detail about this look. The products that I used will be listed in the bar below. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, until next time, inspire and be inspired. Bye!